Hello there and welcome to the last part of building a Chrome extension using React. So in this app, we're going to see how to deal with another third-party service created by Google, which will provide us with the favicon of any URL given to that API. So let's take a quick look at it before we get started. So we need to add a link and the name of the bookmark, and we just have to submit, and this is going to be added to the list right here. We also have used React memos so we can boost our app's performance at some point. Alright, back inside the components folder, we're going to create another component for the bookmarks, so we'll just call it bookmarks, like I said. Okay, and we're going to have a couple files as always, one for the JavaScript, another one for CSS. Okay, now let's create the component structure. Let's say bookmarks, and then here we're gonna have a couple of things. At first, just test things out. Say bookmarks, change this to React, and just said bookmarks, and then here just have a simple heading that says test. Okay, let's import this here. I'll say bookmarks. Okay, save it. There you go. It's here. Cool. So before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about this component. So basically, we're gonna have a form with a couple of inputs. That one. And we're going to have a bookmark element or component, which could be one of these elements as a result of the form submission. Okay, and finally we're going to have a list of all of these bookmarks combined in one single component, which is going to be the bookmark list component. Alright, so we're going to first put everything into the same file, this one, then we'll split it into smaller components so we can achieve a cleaner project structure. Okay, alright, so the first thing we want to do is the form. So I'll say section. For this form, it's going to be bookmark form, and it's going to have a cart, which is going to have this form that contains all of this stuff. It's going to have a couple of form controls. Okay, each form control includes a label and an input. So like I said, we're going to have a couple of them, and we're going to finally have a button with a class name btn add. Alright, now let's just format this. There you go. So here, like I said, we're going to have this title, and then here this is going to be the URL, and then here we're going to say add bookmark. Alright, so let's just do some changes here. We're going to have the type, this is going to be submit for the button, and now we're going to give some IDs to these inputs. So we're going to say ID, and then we're going to say BM, and then this one, the first one, is going to be the title, and that one is the link, and I guess that's it. Alright, let's take a look at this now. Alright, couple inputs and a button. Cool. Now we're going to get into the second section of this component. It's going to be the bookmark list. So we'll say section again, and this is going to be bookmark list, and it's going to have the header, which contains an heading h3, and we're going to have another container, bookmarks container, which in turn is going to hold the list that's going to have this class vm's list. Alright, I'll say here bookmarks, and that's all there is to it. Cool. Now the last thing is going to be the actual bookmark. So here we're going to say li with the class vm item is going to have an anchor tag, which has an image with a class of image, and a span that's gonna be reserved for the title. Alright, so let's just format this. And here we're just gonna say bookmark title. Save it. There you go. Now let's go ahead and format this as well. So back in the browser, we just have this header along with an uncompleted bookmark. You can see the image doesn't have a source yet, so let's go ahead and add one. Now this image source is going to be the fav icon of a given site URL. So if it's YouTube, it's going to be the YouTube logo that is displayed in the YouTube tab within the tabs bar. Okay, that comes right here. Now, based on a little search, I found a bunch of different APIs and services that can provide us with the with any website fav icon. But at the end, I decided to go with something coming from Google. So I'm just gonna bring in this URL, and I'll just paste it right here. So let's just alright. So now, as you can see, we have this whole API endpoint. You can see the version number 2, and we have some query parameters here starting from this client. Then we got this type fav icon, fallback options like the type that could be type, size, URL, and at the end we have this URL parameter that's gonna require the actual URL you're looking for. So if I happen to paste, for instance, the YouTube logo here, so let's say here I'm gonna paste this, okay, and then I come back. You can see that it has been extracted right from this URL. So this is the first simple basic way of extracting this fav icon. So now, as you can see here, you can change the size if you want. So let's say size is equal to 24, for instance. That should be now a little bigger, and the default is actually 16, and I believe you can get up to a maximum of 128 exactly, right? So we'll just leave it 24. So now we have taken a look at how to extract fav icons from any web page. So let's go back to the form we just created and handle that properly. So right here, so we're gonna add a handler for this form, right? So here we're gonna say on submit, then we're gonna say add bookmark. All right, now before being able to add a bookmark, we need to be able to handle the text that's gonna be typed in the inputs. So let's take care of that. So I'm gonna go right to the top, and I'm gonna create a couple of hooks for these inputs. So I'll say const, and I'm gonna say mem title, and I'm gonna set it. I'm gonna say useState, and it's gonna be empty. And I'm gonna have another one for the link, all right, and it's gonna be empty as well. Then we're gonna use these setters to set them to the actual values of the inputs. So here we're gonna say change, and we're gonna take this event and set them the bm title to what's gonna be typed in this target. And let's just duplicate this, and here we're gonna change this to link, and hopefully that makes sense. Cool. Now when these bookmarks get submitted, they're gonna be stored somewhere in our app. So I'm gonna create another hook that's gonna hold all of them, all of the bookmarks in one single array. So I'm gonna say bookmarks, and then set bookmarks, and we're gonna say useState, and this time it's gonna be an array. Okay, good so far. Now we're gonna handle the form submission. So I'm gonna take this function, and up here I'm gonna say const, and I'm gonna paste it, and I'm gonna do the following. So the first thing we need to do is to prevent the page from reloading when we submit this form. So I'll say e.prevent default. And then we're going to reset the bookmarks array. So we're going to take the previous bookmarks and we're going to create another instance of those previous bookmarks. Now inside this new instance, we're going to add a new bookmark. So the first thing we need to do here is to have an ID for each bookmark. So we'll use an external package to generate a unique ID for each bookmark. So I'm going to use UUID. So all you need to do here is to say npm iUUID. I believe I have downloaded this before starting this. Yeah, we already have installed this. Okay, so here I'm going to say UUID v4. Okay, I'm going to run it. And let's just import this from here. Let's say import v4 as UUID v4, and then I'm going to say from UUID. Anyway, I meant as. Okay, I got this typo here. Okay, so the next thing in the bookmark item is the actual title and link. So we can say VM title, and this is going to be the actual VM title. Alright, and the same thing with the link. By the way, you can leave it just like that. If the value and the property is the same, you can just leave it like that, okay? But we're just going to put it in our case, okay? And then here, what I'm going to say, I'm just going to log those bookmarks. Alright, now if I save that, and then I come back here, if I happen to say Twitter, and add it, there you go, I got this whole, alright, I think we messed up something. So this log is logging the bookmarks. Alright, there's a typo, uppercase. Alright, so I've got an empty array, and that's okay. This is because useState is asynchronous. So if I click again, there you go. So we've got this array that has this ID, title, and link as well. So we have clicked a couple of times, which means we should have a couple of items here. So if I move this out here, for instance, say here, and then I refresh this page, Twitter, and I click here, now you can see it. Click again, it should be a couple of items. Now let's grab those bookmarks and render them instead of this static boy. So in the bookmark list, we're going to map through the bookmarks array and return each items favicon followed by its link. So here, what we can do, we're just going to get the bookmarks array and we're going to map through it. So we're going to take each bookmark and we're going to return this. Alright. Now here, we're going to have the actual link here. So I'll say bm.bm link, and the first thing actually should be the key. So we don't get that warning. We're just going to say key is going to be the bm.id. Alright, and then here, I'm just going to put all of this in a curly braces, and I'm just going to get rid of this. And I'm going to stop here, and then we're going to leave the size as it is, and here we're going to say the actual bookmark link. Let's say bm link, say bm.bm link. Alright, and then here we're going to say the bookmark.bookmark title. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's see what happens. There you go, we got a couple of Twitters. So if I say, for instance, YouTube, and I just come here and put it here, add it, and there we go. We have it here. Cool. Now you can see these inputs are still keeping the old values. So if you wanted to remove them, well, you can just come here and you can say set bm link to empty. Right, and then I'll do the same thing with the title. If I save that, come back here. If I say YouTube again, it's not cleared, so that should be the bookmarks value. So here if I say value, it's gonna be the BM title, and that one as well. The value is gonna be the BM link. If I save that, okay, just don't care that when you refresh, everything is gonna be fine. So let's say HackerNoon, for instance, and then here as well, let's say add. There you go. You can see HackerNoon has been added, and the imports have been cleared. All right. Now we're gonna do this part after splitting the components. So I'm just gonna get rid of this and those things. Okay. Refresh here. Set footer. There you go. Just leave it there. Now that we figured out how to add a bookmark, let's go ahead and implement a delete handler. So this is going to be easy at some point. So the first thing we need to do is to come here and just add a new button, and it's going to have a class called btn delete, and whenever I click it, it's going to have to delete the bookmark. Okay, so let's say delete here, and like I said, I'm gonna take this one and let's just put it here, say closed. Alright, let's just get rid of this. Now let's put the delete bookmark handler is going to require an ID, so we're gonna need an identifier for each bookmark so we can decide which bookmark is gonna be deleted. Alright, so here we're going to say set bookmarks, like I said before, previous bookmarks, and this time we're going to need to filter. So we're going to take this previous bookmarks, okay, and we're going to use the filter method, and then we're going to loop through each bookmark and see if it has a different ID from the given one. If each bookmark has a different ID from the given one, so we're going to leave it there. So let's say bm, and we're going to say if bm.id is not actually equal to the given ID, then we're going to leave it. So, and then right after this one, we're going to say console.log this ID. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. If I click delete in this one, we get synthetic base event. So this is because here we have, so we already have passed an ID here, but here we didn't. Now at this point we should have passed the argument. So what we can do, we're going to make an anonymous function, and this one is going to require the bookmark.id. I'll save it. Now if I click delete, it gets deleted, and this is the ID as you can see. All right. Okay, so far so good. At this stage, I can say the main functionality has been successfully accomplished. We can now add and delete bookmarks seamlessly. Okay, so our file has almost reached 100 lines of code or so. So before getting into the model part, we're gonna focus on splitting this file into smaller chunks so we can have more control over this app. So in the next part, we're going to learn how to pass props between components and how to use them. So the first component we want to split is the form. So I'm going to go right here in this bookmarks folder, and I'm going to create a couple or maybe 3 more files. So I'll say the first one is going to be reserved for the bookmark form, and it's going to have a couple files, CSS, and we're gonna have a couple more for the bookmark element. Okay, and it's gonna have a couple things as well. And lastly, the bookmark list component. Okay, and another one is CSS. So here we've got the bookmark form, and the bookmark list. And this is the main bookmarks component. It's gonna give some calls to all of these components. Those are the childs of the bookmarks component. So now let's go ahead and grab the bookmarks form, and I'm going to paste it inside the in the bookmark form. Okay, so here we're going to say stateless functional component, and I'm going to call it bookmark form. All right, and then here I'm going to paste this. All right, so now we've got some errors, some red lines squiggling here. And this is completely okay because these handlers and properties doesn't exist in the current file. So we can either bring them here as well, which may sound pointless, or we can pass them as props to this component. I'm gonna do both. Now back to the bookmarks. I'm just gonna import this bookmark form we just created. So I'll say bookmark form, and then here I'm gonna pass in something. So the bookmark form here requires this handler and some other things as well, like this one, the title and the link. Okay, so here in order to be able to access this handler, I'm gonna pass it as a prop to this one. So here we're gonna say add bookmark, and it's gonna have the value of add bookmark. Now if I save that, now let's just don't look at these warnings. We're gonna fix this right now. Okay, so now we have passed this handler, and now we're gonna have to take care of it here. And this is gonna be props dot add bookmarks. Okay, just have to pass props here, and then we're gonna be able to use them right here. And then we can also pass in, for instance, this and this one, and they're gonna be used right here. I'm gonna say props dot set bm title, etc. Okay, I'm just gonna take both of them, and I'm just gonna put them right here. Okay, so let's just take this, and I'm gonna put it right here. All right, let's just import useState. Okay, so this is fixed. There's no error. It just have some warnings with these unused variables. So here I'm gonna give a call to this one, but we still have this warning here because we don't actually have those bm titles, title and link here. So to fix that, what I'm gonna say here, instead of this submit handler, I'm gonna have another one. So here I'm just gonna say const handle submit, and this is gonna be equal to this function. So instead of doing that, I'm just gonna take this from here, and I'm gonna say handle submit, and then right up here I'll just put this, and we're gonna pass in the actual link and title. So the bm title is gonna be the bm title, the bm link is gonna be the bm link as well. So if I come back here, you can see those couple things are still not recognized. So what we can do, we can pass here another variable that's going to be called bookmark. Okay, and then from this bookmark we're gonna grab the bookmark title and the link as well. Okay, now let's try saving this, and there you go. We can have no errors here. Refresh and say Twitter. Okay, the pages are loading because we should have handled this event right up here. Okay, so we no more need this one, and I'm just gonna copy this one line, and I'll just put it here. Save it. There you go. We now have the Twitter bookmark. If I click delete, it deletes it as well. Now here, instead of having the ID right here, we're just going to pass it as well, just like that, so we can have everything packed in one single object. Alright, so I'll just get that one, and I'm going to paste it over here, and we're going to say the ID is actually the new ID before. Now let's just save this, and here instead we're going to say bookmark.id. Save it, add, for instance, another one, it works. Cool. So that's working properly, but although we can do something pretty much the same in a very quick way, like that, we'll say bookmark. Now if I save this, there you have it. This is the spread operator from JavaScript. It really helps a lot in that kind of stuff. So if you ever had a large object, you can just do it like that, okay? But we're just gonna keep it that way so we can read and understand what's going on. Now we're gonna do pretty much the same thing with the bookmark list component. So right here, I'm gonna say list, and then here I'm just gonna go to bookmarks and I'll just bring in this one, okay? And here I'll just put it right there. Again, you've got some problems here, and that's normal. So we now know how to fix this. So here we're gonna say, we're gonna save this one, and then here we'll just say bookmark list. And what does it need? It just requires the bookmarks and the delete bookmark handler as well. So we're gonna pass both of these things as props from this one. So I'll say bookmarks, and it's gonna be the actual bookmarks. And the second thing is gonna be the delete bookmark, which is gonna be actually the delete bookmark as well. So save that, and then here I'm gonna say props, and I'll just come back here. We can either say props and then say props dot this thing, or if we had just both things like that, we can just say bookmarks and delete bookmark, and then we're just gonna leave it like that, okay? So if I save this, and if I say, let's just refresh and see Twitter, okay, delete, it gets deleted, and it's all right. Cool. Now this list component is doing the job correctly, but it can be reduced and split it as well. So this list item looks decent at some point, so it has like 20 lines or so. So this is gonna be another separate component. So I'm just gonna copy it, and I'm gonna go to the bookmark and here, and then I'm gonna say bookmark, okay, and I'll just paste it right here. And now, as always, we're just gonna have to pass the props. Okay, so back inside here, I'll just say bookmark, and then we're gonna pass in the bookmark. Okay, I'll say bm is equal to bn, and we'll actually pass in the delete bookmark as well. Okay, I'm gonna pass it here, and then here, what we can do, I'll just say bm and delete bookmark as well. Now if I save this, alright, got a problem here. Okay, we'll fix this, and then we get another one, get undefined. So there's something wrong here. So this is the link and the title. Alright, this should be in curly braces. Save this. There we go, you get it. If I delete, it deletes it. Cool. Now this warning, so it says each child in the list should have a unique key prop. So even though we have attached a key to the list item right here in the bookmark component, React doesn't consider it as a key to the imported instance of that bookmark in the bookmark list component. So I'm just gonna take it from here and save this, and here we are going to add this one here. Save it, refresh, say Twitter. There we go. There's no problem with that. Cool. Now the way we passed props from the parent component, which is bookmarks, to bookmark form and bookmark list is the basic and simple way of passing props. But if you keep an eye on the bookmark component, for instance, so we have passed the, for instance, the delete bookmark handler from this parent component, which is the top level component, and then we have passed this to this one, to the bookmark list component right here. And then inside this one, we have referenced the delete bookmark handler. And then we also have passed this one again to the bookmark component, okay? And then we finally used it right here. Now this action is called props drilling, and it's a very common concept in React, although it's not recommended to do this sort of things. But if you're going to overdo it, you better look at a state management library like Redux, or maybe use Context API. They can save you a significant amount of time. Now let's add some CSS to get a better look at this app. Let's start with the main component. So I'm gonna copy and paste these styles. So right here, and I'm gonna put them here. All right, I'll save it. And I'm gonna import them here. Okay, so here I'll say import bookmarks.css. Save this. So I've got something, not a big deal though, but it'll get better. Alright, now the next thing is the list styles. Okay, I'll paste it here, and I'll just import it as well. I'll say list.css. If I save this, there you go. Got this cell box. Okay, that's gonna be fixed a little bit more when I add some bookmarks. Let's try adding, for example, Twitter. Add it. All right. Now we're gonna need to add the bookmark component styles. So I'll come right here. I'll place this here, and I just got here. I'll say import CSS. Okay, that looks better. Hold on, got some extra margin here. I think this is gonna be fixed later. Anyway, now let's go a little further and bring in the form styles. So right here. So I'll just paste them here, and right here, just import them. Say form.css. Save this, and there you go. Now I can see the form at this place. Okay, so this is how the form is going to look like when it's shown. Now let's bring in a bit of styles to the app CSS here. So I'll just say app wrapper here. I'm going to save it, and then here I'm going to wrap this whole app component in an app wrapper. Okay. So, okay, and then like I said, I'm just gonna wrap all of this in this one. If I save it, got a huge plus sign. So let's add some bookmarks and see if it expands. So I'll say Twitter. Alright, this is Twitter. If I say, for instance, afternoon. Alright, now I'm gonna need to hide this thing. Now we're gonna see how to show and hide this form. I want to be able to open the form in a modal once I click a button, and I want to close it when I finish submitting a bookmark, or maybe cancel, for instance. Alright, let's do it. Let's just inspect this, and I'm just gonna show you something. So here's the form. When I finish submitting, I want it to be hidden, and when I click a button that's gonna be here, it's going to be shown, and we're going to have a sort of backdrop, so we don't see the bookmarks, and instead we just focus on the form. Alright, so we're going to create a new hook to help us decide to show or hide the form. So right here I'm going to say show form, and then set it. It's going to be useState, and it's going to be false by default. So if it's true, it's going to show the form, otherwise it's going to hide it. Then I'm going to take this hook, and inside the bookmarks div, I'm just going to say here, I'll say if show form is true, then we're going to have a couple of things here. We're going to have a bookmarks container, which is going to have a backdrop here. And then inside this backdrop, we're gonna have a form. So this backdrop is gonna hold the form here, all right? And in addition to this, we're gonna leave these bookmark list right here. It's gonna be behind this form. So like I said, if show form is true, we're gonna show the form over this bookmark list. Else, we're just gonna show this one, the bookmark list. All right. If I save this, okay, the form is hidden by default, and there is no way to open the form and add anything. So we're gonna create a new button in bookmark list. So inside the header here, I'm gonna say button, and it's gonna have a couple of things, btn control, and it's gonna say add new. All right, and it's gonna have another class as well. It's gonna be btn add. All right, and whenever I click it, I'm gonna say open form. Okay, and this is gonna come from here, from the main bookmarks component. Now let's go back to the bookmarks file here, and I'll just say const open form is equal to the following. And here, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna set show form to true. All right, and we're gonna need to pass it back to the list component. Okay, so here I'll say open form is equal to open form. And if I pass this here, if I come back here, say add new, there we go. Now I can see this form here, but there's a problem with the backdrop is not showing here. So this should be with the bookmark form here, or maybe with the bookmarks CSS. Okay, this is the problem. It should be backdrop. There you go. Okay, that's cool. So if I try adding a bookmark here, all right, it's added but I can't see it. So whenever I submit, I need to close this form. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to here, and right when we finish submitting this form, I'm gonna reset show form to false. If I save it, add bookmark, and there we go. It's working. Now sometimes we might have opened the form and then decided to not add anything, so we want to escape. So I don't suppose you'll add an empty bookmark like that and then delete it so you can get back to this place, or maybe refresh the page. That'll be ridiculous. So we'll make a cancel button that can close the form, and I'll go to the form component right here, and we're gonna add this new button. So right here, I'm gonna say a btn cancel, and it's gonna have a cancel, okay? And then whenever I click this one, I'm just gonna say close form handler. All right, and then I'm gonna take this one here, and right here, we're gonna say closed. I'm gonna put it here, and this time we're gonna say props dot close form. Okay, and this is almost exactly the same as we did with the with this button. Okay, the only difference here, we just used props, and in the other one we just passed the actual prop and used it directly right here in this button. So now we're gonna go to the bookmarks, and here I'm just gonna do the opposite of this thing. Okay, so we're gonna call this close form, and this is gonna be false. All right, and then we're gonna need to pass this one right here. I'm gonna say close form, and it's gonna be the actual close form function. Okay, now let's save that. If I click add new, okay, we see this cancel button. If I click it, it gets closed. Cool. I'm actually going to add another closing button, the almighty X button we usually see everywhere in pop-up models. All right, so here outside of the form, let's say outside of this form, I'm gonna say button and it's gonna be btn close. All right, and whenever we click this, we're gonna say close form handler as well. And then here, I'm gonna use an icon instead. So I'll say AI fill close circle, and I'm just gonna import it. Paste it here. I'm gonna say from React icons /AI. If I save that, all right, this is the typo. Say fill, okay, and then here as well. All right, if I click this, there we go. Now I can see this close button. Cool. You can also add the escape button and clicking outside the model pop up right here, for instance. So you can consider that as a mini homework if you want. Now, if I add a bookmark here, okay, this is the delete button. It doesn't really look good, so we're gonna replace that with an icon. All right. So in the bookmark list, or actually in the bookmark here, I'm gonna change this to the icon. So here I'm gonna say ri delete bin 6 line. All right, and we don't need this one nor that one, and this is gonna be like that. And whenever I click it, it's gonna do the exact same thing here. All right, now let's import this one. Like I said, I'm gonna say import. I'm gonna paste it here and I'll say from React /RI. If I save this, there you go. That looks better. If I add a couple more, for instance, but there is an extra padding here. I don't know where this is coming from. All right, this is the problem. It has 4.5 RAM at the bottom. So let's go and fix this. So here, I'm just gonna say, so let's say 1.5. All right, that looks better. Cool. We're gonna leave it like that. So pretty sweet. Now, when we open the form, we need to click again here to be able to type or paste something here. So I'm gonna handle that in a way that sets the focus automatically on the first input when the form is opened. In other words, when it renders. So everything is going to be in the form component. We'll need a couple things, a useRef hook and a useEffect. So the first thing is going to be, so the first thing I want to do here is up here, I'm going to say const title ref is equal to useRef. All right. Then we'll have a useEffect that's going to trigger the referenced element and set the focus on that specific element. So what I'm going to say here, useEffect. Okay, it's going to run once the component is rendered. And we're going to say title ref current focus. Okay. So when that element is rendered, it's gonna set the focus on it. So the component, so the element is gonna be this one. So I'm gonna say ref is gonna be equal to title ref. All right. Now if I save that, come back here, I'm gonna say add new. There we go. You can type without clicking again. So that works fine. Now the last main thing is going to be saving these bookmarks to local storage. So if I refresh, they're gone. So we did that twice in a couple of previous tutorials of this series, the reading app and the Todos app. And now we're going to do it exactly like the To-Do app. We're just going to replace the Todos with bookmarks. So I'm going to do that real quick. So I'm going to go to bookmarks here, and right here I'm going to say useEffect, and the first thing we want to do is to get these bookmarks in JSON format. So I'm going to say localStorage dot get item, and we're going to pass in the bookmarks. Okay, so we're going to call it bookmarks. Okay, and then here I'm going to say loaded bookmarks, and this is going to be JSON dot parse, okay, and then we're gonna pass this data, which is the bookmarks. And then I'm gonna check if those loaded bookmarks have actually been loaded, and if that's true, we're gonna reset the bookmarks to these loaded bookmarks, and then this is gonna be changed every time bookmarks is updated. And then so we're gonna have another useEffect, and this one is gonna be for setting the bookmarks. So we're gonna say const JSON is equal to JSON.stringify. Then we're gonna pass in the actual bookmarks. Then we're gonna use localStorage, and we're gonna set the a bookmarks item that's gonna hold all of the stringified bookmarks, and that'll do it. And then here, like I said, the bookmarks array. Hopefully that works fine. All right, let's save that and add a new one. Better. You can't see it. Oh well, I almost broke my GPU. Let's just, I think it's that one. Exactly. That's the reason. So if I try adding another one, there we go, now I can see it. Cool. So never do that. This needs to be run once the component renders, and not based on the bookmarks, okay? This one is going to be updated based on the bookmarks, okay? But this doesn't care. It's just going to go to local storage and get that item, and then it's going to show us the actual list. All right, now since the form is not going to change, meaning whenever I open the form we get the same UI, couple of inputs, a couple of buttons. Therefore we don't need to re-render the form component every time we open it. So the app needs to remember this component, so it's going to have to memoize it, so we can gain some extra milliseconds in performance. A common way of doing that is wrapping the component in a React memo hook, which is in the acronym of higher order component. So at the end of this form here, we're going to wrap this bookmark form into a React memo, so we can, like I said at the beginning, so we can boost the performance a little bit, right? So here I'm going to say react.memo, and I'm going to wrap this component inside it, okay? So I'm going to need to import React as well from React, okay? So whenever I open this form, the app is gonna render a memoized component, which is that one, which is this bookmark component. So this one is gonna be memoized. It's like saved, it's like something saved in the history of the app. Now React Memo can also accept an optional function that may use some props passed to it to update the component conditionally. But in our case, we just wanted to memoize the form. So we just made a simple basic usage of React Memo. So now if I wanted to display all of the 6 apps we built, I'll try to come back here, app.js, and I'm just gonna uncomment all of them. Alright, now if I save that, alright, they're all in the same column. So now I'm gonna wrap all of the components in a grid layout. So I'm gonna use CSS grid to handle that. So I'm gonna first put each component in a div. So here I'm gonna say item, and I'm gonna hold the bookmarks component as the first item. So we're gonna follow this order, okay? This is gonna be the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, right? So here I'm gonna do the same thing. So at the end, so at the beginning actually, I'm just gonna say item, all right, and I'm gonna put these components in there. So this one, the first item is gonna be called item 1, and that's gonna be 2, 3, okay. Now the order is a little bit different. It's gonna be, like I said, time, reading, weather, and then we can have the to do before decrypted. All right, let's save this. All right, so then in app CSS, we're gonna have some other classes as well. So I'm just gonna put them in this place and I'm gonna save it. All right, got some problems. It should look like that. It should look like that. Now this one is pushed a little bit to the right somewhere. Let's just inspect that and let's just do it like that. Okay. So here's the weather, flex, direction, margin. Alright, so that was the problem. So we're gonna need to remove this margin from the weather app. Cool. Alright, so the main app has been successfully completed. Now the next step is gonna be to run npm run build. We're gonna need to build it, okay, and then I'll just come here and I'm just gonna go to extensions, and once the build has been finished, I'm gonna go, you can see the folder here, I'm gonna say load impact, and in this extension I'm gonna click on this build folder and I'm gonna select it. Now it says missing manifest version key, and it's actually missing the whole manifest.json file, because when you want to publish an extension, you're going to need a manifest.json file that contains all the details needed to publish this extension. Now I'll add that to the GitHub repository. You can find it there. So loading unpacked folders like that is for testing purposes. You're going to need to test your app, then you're going to enable it like that. But if you're going to publish this extension to the Chrome Web Store, you're going to need a developer account, and you're going to have to fill some details in your dashboard for each item, for each extension, and then you're going to send it and wait for the approval. Right? I'm going to add a link in the description to show you how to publish your Chrome extension to the web store. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this series. See you later.